Welcome to the Phenomenal Podcast, an authentic forum where real conversations happen. I'm your host, Phen, and each episode features an unscripted chat with everyday people. Get ready for a genuine, raw discussion. Enjoy the conversation. Hey friends, welcome to episode 24 of the Phenomenal Podcast. I have a very, very good friend. We've known each other 26, 25 years,
Our whole
long time, whole lives. Michael Holder, we were in each other's weddings. Our wives are friends. We're friends. We got, all things are intertwined. So Michael, tell us a little bit about yourself and then we'll jump into the conversation.
Yeah. My name is Michael. I am in finance, corporate finance, for my profession, but I have my wife Anna and my little boy Anderson. He is almost 2. I guess he's like 20 something, 21 months old. I'm also a lacrosse coach. I coach at Walton, which is fun because Phen went to Walton and my wife went to Walton. They were actually friends, and we didn't know each other. Well, I knew Phen. I didn't know Anna. But we ran in similar circles.
Yeah.
And then that's pretty much the basis of me is lacrosse, family, and work. And then everything else is all other free time goes to seeing people like you and
I was
guess
saying,
hanging out
what
with my
free
family.
time?
Yeah, very little. I was gonna say like we finally got to do this.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this since you started. So after I watched Liam's, it was literally like the let's do it. Now we're episode 24,
Yeah.
which was from 1 to 24 is funny.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm surprised I've made it this far. It's a cool thing, but finding 24 people and 24 unique people has been actually a challenge, and working with people's schedules. And then I thought more people would actually want to do it, but apparently people
It's
don't actually want to.
intimidating, even though it's just you and the whole point of the podcast is that you're not intimidating. It is. I mean, you're talking for basically 45 minutes to an hour with your father-in-law, an hour and a half.
Oh
But he
gosh,
can
yeah.
talk. He knows how
Yeah.
to talk.
Yeah,
He's
he does.
professionally trained how to talk. But I mean, it's whether you get 5 or 50 or 500 or 500,000 views, you're still putting
Yeah.
content out there that you have to actually know how to talk. And
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
fair.
that's some people's weaknesses. You're good at that, though.
Well, yeah, people tell me that, and I've gotten a lot of comments that I was like, "Oh, your voice sounds so nice on the podcast," and I was like, "Well,
Uh,
thanks." I've gotten that a lot now. I used to also feel weird listening to myself, but it's become so like second nature because I listen to everything so much. It's just normal now.
yeah.
But it's
Do
been
you pick
fun.
apart your voice, or how you like? I feel like you got to be your worst critic on these type of things.
Dude, I try not to. I try to just listen to it like I was listening to episode 23. It's not aired yet, but I wanted to see how it sounded, and it's on YouTube but unlisted right now. And I was listening to it while I was mowing the grass, and I was listening to it as if like I was just listening to two random people. Uh, the worst now is like I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, I wish I had asked this question. It would have been a good follow-up question, but it's never anything like critiquing. It's more like, oh man, like I'm actually curious. I wish I had asked that question because I want to know the answer now.
Yeah.
So, but
Follow up, yes.
yeah, definitely. I'm trying to get to 26, so we're almost there. 26 unique ones. It'll be half a year of
Hmm.
releasing the podcast with unique people, and then I'll try to get some reoccurring people. Whoever wants to come back on, the more you're all welcome.
Yep.
So. I was telling Ben Fricks was a guest earlier as well, and I aired episode 19. It was with Connor,
Hmm.
and he works for a professional sports organization. And the day that it aired, he got a message like in his general Slack channel with all of his colleagues as a reminder, hey, if you like want to do a podcast or a video or anything like that, it's not through said organization, you need to like get it approved first. So I had to take that one down for him. But
Hey,
it's
you're reaching the right channels then, I guess. They're picking
like,
up on you're not so under the radar that
I
professional companies for finding it.
it was so strange that it happened. Like he got the message that day. I wonder if they have people and like just like do scans for said
They
names
probably
and
have an AI that does it to this
right.
point that just
Yeah.
like picks up, oh, that's an employee name.
Right. So I had to take it down really quick, but it was fine. It was you know, and I'm not gonna try to like make all the episodes update the numbers and stuff. I recorded and aired them all. Whatever. It looks like I missed a week, but I didn't. So yeah. All right, I got to tell you something. I wanted to tell you when we talked on the phone earlier, but I wanted to. Well, I was just like, oh, we'll talk later. So
Yeah.
today, I've been running a ton of errands. I went to the farmer's market. Josie's working, so I was doing all the things that we either do together or she would do by herself. And so I went to the farmer's market. Then I got a text from her dad and her in a group message that there was an estate sale that ended 9 minutes
Mhm.
ago, and it was in Roswell. It wasn't very far away,
Yeah.
and they had a power squat rack, and
Oh,
like a barbell and some weights and a bench and everything for $345 marked as is. But I walked in there and I was like, hey man, I got $248 cash my wife said I can use. Will you take that? And he was like, yeah, sure. So he thought about it for a second and he was like, um, do you have tools to take it apart? And I was like, yeah, I can take it apart. And he's like, all right, you can have it. So I got the power rack, a 45-pound barbell, clips for the barbell, a bench, and I think there were some weights. Maybe people bought the weights, but I got all that, and then 6 like industrial rubber mats.
hell yeah.
Um,
Those are expensive. Those are more than you paid me cash than
yeah,
the entire setup. The
yeah,
mats are stupid expensive, especially because they're heavy, so they
dude, they're
take a lot to
so
ship.
heavy.
Did you move it already?
No, Paul is helping me tomorrow, so I'm gonna get it tomorrow. I have to take it apart, and then I'm not putting it together tomorrow, but I
Yep.
will. I
Garage
don't.
gym life, though.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Yes,
We don't have
sir.
a kid yet, but I am trying to prep for that
Yep.
because just having taking the commute out of like we don't live far from the gym, but it's still a process of getting there and checking in and like you know doing everything. So
And it's just the fact that also when he or she, whatever you have,
right,
gets older, like you can either pop down and work out, or you can even have them join you in terms of
yeah,
toddling around. You
yeah,
obviously have to watch it,
yeah,
but like they get to see. And you said like when we worked out in
hmm
my garage one day, and he was out there, he was like, it's good for them to see because
oh
that's
yeah,
that positive mindset that they get to see. And you've made such progress over the past 90 to 100 days. I forget how many
hmm
Apple circles you've closed, but essentially, you're not going to give that up. I mean,
no,
your
dude,
life has already
honestly,
been feeling better.
yeah, yeah, I don't know when we're going to have a kid, but I've already started thinking about the routines that I've started building recently and how much they have improved my life that like the thought of losing them scares me.
Yeah.
Um, you know? And so you're right. Like I don't want to have to give that up, but I still want to be around and I
I
want
mean, I
to
think realistically, the fact that you get up early, that's the only thing you can really do when you have a kid,
yeah.
unless you're a night owl, but like the kid's gonna wake up in the morning one way or not.
Yeah.
So if you're like, oh, I'll work it at night when they're asleep, well, then you're up till 11 and the kid wakes up at 5,
Right, right, right.
then you're just sacrificing sleep, which is gonna
Dude,
decrease your mental and physical health anyway.
we
You know how important sleep is.
yeah. I got to bed when I go to bed at 9:45. I'm like, oh, it's late. it's, I mean, I know that'll change. All that will change, but
Do you
I'm
still
just
Whoop? Do you still track all your sleep and
no.
everything like that?
We our bed tracks it,
That's
and I
enough.
try to not look at it honestly because I'm a pretty mental person, and I've noticed that when I like look at my sleep scores or whatever, if it tells me I didn't sleep well, no matter how well I was feeling before I looked at the number, I automatically am like, oh, never mind, I don't feel good.
Yeah,
So it's like subconscious. It's like I thought I slept well, but I didn't actually sleep well. So
that's fair.
yeah, actually tried to stop doing as much like analytical stuff with my health because it can freak me out a little bit. I closed 100 rings in a row, like you were mentioning on my
Yeah.
Apple Watch, and I don't know, something happened. I was like, that was really cool. I'm really proud of myself for doing that. But now I like don't wear my Apple Watches. I wear it when I work out, but I'm not like wearing it all day and being like, oh, I need to close the rings now. It's like
Yeah. It's better than
whatever.
just giving up. Like some people would be like, "Oh, I hit 100. Okay, I can ease off my workouts now."
Yeah.
So
Th-
at least you're just taking the watch off, which is fine.
right.
And
Yeah.
it
I mean,
doesn't let me have a watch anyway anymore. I
that's
had a two for the longest time, but because of all of the EMFs and Bluetooth and all the things our wife loves to talk about,
yeah.
I don't wear one anymore. But I miss it dearly.
That's so funny that she. I mean, I've thought about it. Like, it was another reason why I stopped sleeping in it, honestly, because I was like, I
Yeah.
mean, like, I wear it enough during the day, and our bed has the thing. I was like, I'm already getting enough EMF wave while I sleep, like whatever.
We bought a EMF free alarm clock, which just has the worst sound. I mean,
Oh,
compared to you don't think you miss iPhone's nice like wake you up
yeah.
until you have a wah, wah in the middle of the
Mm-hmm.
day.
Sounds terrible. Josie wants to move our phones out of the bedroom, and like I
That's
kind
why we have an alarm clock because I was
yeah,
like, I have to be able to wake up.
yeah, I kind of agree with it, but at the same time, I was like, oh, it's just such a easy thing in life, just like plug it in and
Yeah,
throw it there.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I was telling you about this that the new iPhone is the battery is good enough that you don't even have to plug it in. That's the issue apparently, is that when it's plugged in, that's when all the
Oh,
EMFs
really?
start. So like
Mm,
if you just have your phone by your head, it's still radiating something, but if you plug it in, it explodes essentially. So if
interesting.
you're not gonna plug it in at night, I guess it's okay. I'd have to ask Anna. She's all things knowing of
Anna is
what.
sorted.
Yeah, for real. Very much so.
Are you gonna buy any of his clothes?
They look really comfortable. I
I
just don't
know
know, like they're like kind of they're basic.
it's
So it's
very
like,
basic.
do I want to spend that much money
That's
on
what
things?
Josie asked me. She's like, "Do you want to buy some?" I was like, I don't need to spend money on that. Like, sure, I
Yeah,
support him and his mission and what he's doing, and like I think it's great. But
yeah.
do I need to spend my money on that? No. Like,
They are
yeah,
hard the brands are hard to find. Like I like Pack stuff, you know what I'm talking about, PACT. Their
uh,
stuff is pretty solid in terms of organic cotton,
uh-huh.
not a bunch of plastics and stuff like that. I mean, I've switched to their boxers if all the world wants to know. But
I've
like,
been looking
because
into
it's
getting organic
there
boxers.
is there is some merit to not having plastic in
In your
places you
junk.
don't want plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have thought about have you heard of like Nads? Nads is like the one that's like
yeah,
always on my Instagram.
oh yeah,
Um, and I'm like, oh, cool, sure, I'll look into it. And it's like $50 for one pair. And I'm
yeah.
like,
That's outrageous.
I wear in a week, I probably wear 20 pairs of boxers because
Yeah,
like I sleep in a pair, I work out in a pair, and then I put on a pair for work. And I'm like, you
yeah.
know, I don't know if everyone
Oh,
does
I'm
that, but
terrible
I
at
go
that.
through a lot.
I don't ever go. I don't really like buy new stuff though.
Yeah,
That just might be because I'm frugal. But like, I wore the same pair of boxers from like middle school to
yeah.
through college, and I was like, Anna's laughing in the background. It's like, oh, she when we got married, she's like, you need new shit.
That's so
So
funny.
we I at least upped my level a little
There you
bit.
go.
Yeah.
I actually still wear the same boxers that I bought to go to college, and so
See,
like,
guys do that though.
yeah, yeah, they don't have any holes in them. Actually, a pair of boxers that I have that I got for like Christmas, I love them. I wear them all the time, but they have like holes in them, and it was like a Christmas is like 3 or 4 years ago, and the ones that I got before I went to college are still fine.
They
So,
don't make things the way they used to make.
right, and that was only 10 years
Apparently.
ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy. We went to college 10 years ago. I guess
No, six. High school 10 years ago.
we
We
graduated.
graduated high school 10 years ago. Yeah, we did move. We
Yeah,
started going
we
into,
went
oh
we
shit.
went
Yeah.
to college 10 years ago.
Yeah, you're right. Damn.
Yeah,
That is scary.
isn't it? Oh man.
RIP college though. That
Uh
it's wild how like you're like you wish away things when you go to college, you're like, oh, I'm ready to have freedom, and then when you're at college, you're like, oh, I'm ready to have a house and like start a life, and then at some point, you're like, shit, I want to go back to college. Were you in college for three
uh,
consecutive years, and
I
then
went,
you went, or like, what was your
I,
college career like? I forget.
dude. It was I went
All over the place.
to college. I moved to Kennesaw, and I lived on campus for a year, and then I moved into an apartment still at Kennesaw. I was still going to school at Kennesaw for my sophomore year,
Hmm.
and then after sophomore year, I lost the Hope Scholarship, and I was in a really weird place in life spiritually. I mean, the Lord was working in my life. It was
Hmm.
just a weird. It was weird. Like I look back on it now, I'm like, man, I was so lost. But like, it's crazy what the Lord did still through all of
But you
that.
also made some ridiculously good friends too,
Yeah,
right? In that timeline.
like
Did
friends.
you, yeah,
Yeah,
from your like fraternity days and things like that, you still have a lot of fraternity friends, right?
it's mainly just Liam and Branson, uh, and Sean. I haven't seen Sean in a while, but
Three
yeah, like
friends is a lot of friends, but
that's true.
in terms of like that you're
That
still talking to at this age.
that is true. Yeah, and it's funny is we all went to high school together, and we were all sort of friends. Actually, Branson and I were not friends at all. Like we knew each other, but like we just like never hung out.
Yeah.
Uh, but Liam and Sean and I, we all like here and there, and then we all lived together freshman year, and we became really good friends. And Liam and I became like very good friends. And then Liam, Branson, and I and another guy lived together sophomore year too, and Sean lived in the apartment next door. So like for 2 years, the four of us were very connected, and like we all still hang out now, um, which is great. But then yeah, after that I moved. I switched schools. I went and got my degree in leadership and ministry, and took all these online classes. And I was living with my brother in Alpharetta for a little bit, and then he decided to sell his
Because you finished
condo.
when we were living together, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
graduated. We celebrated. I remember that.
yeah. Oh, that was funny. We all took shots in the.
Yeah. We're like, yeah.
Yeah. What a time. What a time. Yeah. So that was, I mean, it was all over the place. I lived at our friend's parents' house in their basement for like a year. Man, what a
You
time.
lived a long life
I
already.
have, I have, I've lived, I'm an old man. But yeah, now we're married, both of us married. We have houses. You have a kid. You have two dogs.
I do.
Um, it's, you made me laugh earlier when we talked on the phone, and when you said, Anna just wanted to look at houses, and I said, "Sounds like you're buying a new house." That's what I said in my in my head.
What's funny is I've been like, our house has a creek in the front of it, so it's like
Mm,
one day we got to figure out if this thing's going to implode or not because it went from a small little creek to the night that we got married, there was a hurricane. I don't think it was in Georgia, but I think it was in Alabama or something like that. And then we got the like
yeah,
blowover from it. But like we had a sinkhole in the front of our house for 6 months until the county fixed it. But we have a culvert that runs under our driveway that we're like, we want to rent our
hmm
house out
hmm
if we move. But also, it's like if you rent it out, you still have the issues
yeah,
that you really know about. Um, but we love where we live. We
yeah,
live 10 minutes from y'all. We live right close to downtown Roswell. Um, we live in Walton District.
hmm
So there's a lot of positives. But also we bought in 2020 when the rates were low. So it's like,
yeah,
what do you do with this? The world is crazy now. At least rates are dropping a little bit, but essentially there's a house that came in on the market in our neighborhood. We walked over and saw it because
oh,
the neighbor
yeah,
that lives across the street is a realtor. So we walked down the street, saw it, and it was just like kind of the first time that Anna's like, maybe this doesn't have to be our forever home,
hmm
but also if it is, we're going to have to make some sort of renovations, right? Because
oh
like
yeah,
if
yeah,
our family does grow, we can't stay in this one.
right, yeah. And it's like it's funny because Josie and I don't know what prompted this the other day, but she is like, so I have this crazy idea, and my thought was, oh gosh, like what country do you want to go to now? Like, and then she's like, what if we bought a house and rented out our current one. And I was
That's a
like,
great freaking idea.
I know,
Are y'all in Walton District too?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, dude. It's so like because of how new that the school is, like new, right? They
the
rebuilt
building,
the school,
yeah,
right? Um, it's got such high ratings. Like
yeah,
when you don't have a kid that needs to be in school, I tried to convince Anna that we can just like we can go rent a place at this point
mm,
and rent out our house and make profit just because we're living in a less costly district. You could go rent in Wheeler or Kell or Sprayberry district for like $1,000 or $500 less than what you're doing right now.
yeah, maybe. Rent is crazy now.
But
Um,
rent is right now, at least I don't know about now that rates dropped, but technically the market is a lot of mortgages are more expensive than rents are.
yeah,
Like rent is expensive because everything's expensive, but
right.
like if you go look at things, it's even when we were actually touring houses in when we went down to the beach in like Rosemary, Santa Rosa area,
Hmm.
and I have a Airbnb calculator to see if like things actually like make sense,
Hmm.
but it's so hard to make things make sense because
Hmm.
you can Airbnb things out for $300 a night, but that's not going to cover because especially if you like 55% occupancy rate, like you're not going to
Yeah,
cover
I
everything.
know. You have to like, you need capital, like to put money down to make anything like
You need to like buy it in cash of some sort
right.
in order to and have
You
the
just
the
you got to have the capital to realize like, hey, this is a sunk cost that we're not going to recuperate for a while, but we're going to be able to pay, like we're going to be able to keep it, kind of thing,
yeah.
like so. That's what I mean. Oh, it's
I mean, and I think in 2020, especially when the rates were low, people realized like I think a lot of people lived on real estate. Real estate's always been a good investment.
mhm.
And then when the rates were low, people were like, "Oh, real estate's actually a really good investment," and that just like
I know because prices
paved
are
the way for
crazy
what it is
now.
today. Yeah,
But the thing is, when the rates drop more, like the prices are just going to go up more.
right. So you have
It's,
to essentially buy at the big right now when the tick is going down, right? When
yeah.
people aren't increasing their prices, things are sitting on the market right now for like 30 days. So it's a little
Hmm.
bit calmer. They're not all going off the market in 2 days like they were the
Yeah.
past few years, but rates are starting to drop. But you're right, like prices are going to go up as
Yeah.
soon as
I know.
people see that they could sell their house for cheaper, and people are like, "Oh, I can afford that."
Hmm.
As soon
Uh,
as houses start flipping.
but like what you said, like I love the area we live in. Like
Hmm.
we're close. We're close to whatever we need to get to. Like nothing's too far away.
Yeah,
And like the schools, I like we don't need that right now. But like I like the area.
and you're
Um,
close to family too. Like
yeah.
we always say, we don't really, other than going to see Jessica and Fred in Seattle, but like we don't have to travel and spend money. We don't have to spend our vacation time to go see family because we
Right.
see family all the time.
Right.
You know, like that time is actually ours. We can invest that in our family, invest that in ourselves,
Right.
versus a lot of people have to spend all of that time to just see their family. But that being said, like East Cobb is a great place to live
Hmm.
because it's 45 minutes from the busiest airport you can get anywhere.
Hmm.
It's got a lot of like renovations. Woodstock and Roswell are adjacent.
Yeah.
Their downtowns are popping off. So,
But there's nowhere good to eat here.
oh my God, it's terrible. But those
It's
places, the adjacents.
yeah. That's what we were going out to dinner last night with Josie's mom and her stepdad, and we were trying to figure out like where we wanted to go, and Ron said like, "Where do you go? Where would you go out to eat?" And I said, "Roomies."
Yeah,
Like that's like not anywhere around here. We'd go to Sandy
no.
Springs probably. Like
Marietta Square is getting better,
yeah,
I think, right?
yeah.
Max
I love
Chop
the
House,
square.
shout out Max Chop House. The place is great.
Yeah,
Expensive as hell, but it's worth it.
dude, their bone
And
and
then,
fillet is slaps.
oh my God, they're so good. But like Marietta Square, Woodstock, I actually haven't been to like eat Woodstock area, but like I think it's supposed to be getting
Hmm.
good. And then Roswell, so like everywhere else that you have to like 10, 15, 20 minute drive at least is there.
Yeah,
But yeah, within where we live, it's just chain restaurants,
and not even good
which
ones.
is no. I mean, Taco Tuesday is okay.
Yeah,
That's about it.
yeah,
It's all right.
yeah.
It's there.
It's there.
Yeah, we they moved the Longhorn closer to us, and it's just that's the one that Ann and I look at and we're like, if I'm gonna make it, I can make a steak. I don't need to go to
Well,
Longhorn.
right. I don't need to spend money. And like their steaks, have you heard about the apparently a lot of steakhouses are doing this thing where they use like basically this like chemical glue and they're gluing pieces of meat together to make the
To
steaks
make
look
bigger
bigger.
steaks.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nasty.
Yeah.
Anna literally said, I think it was yesterday, she was like, what a wild time. We live in a world
Hmm.
that they put non-food products in food products.
Right.
Like, oh, let's put this coloring that belongs on children's toys in your food.
Into your food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, that's interesting. Um, and we were wondering because, like, obviously, I don't know all the FDA
Hmm.
steps and like, do they just basically say, oh, that didn't kill somebody, so we can put it in there, or is it like they tested and said this kept somebody hungry or full for a lot longer? I don't think coloring is going to do that, but
Yeah.
I don't
There's
know.
studies that
I
say
don't
that
know the
like
process.
the chemicals and stuff that go into foods actually make you hungrier. So
I believe that.
yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
But we went to Ted's
That's the
last night.
opposite.
Yeah, right. We went to Ted's last night and I got a bison burger and it was really good. It was
I
actually
haven't
really
been there
good.
so long, but those are and the pickles that they serve.
Yeah.
All right, I like that. That place is good.
Yeah. But we got
Who is
dessert
it?
there and it wasn't good. We got this brownie with like ice cream on it and I got a cookie.
So much potential.
Yeah, I was so excited for it and it came out and Josie was like, "How's your cookie?" And I was like, "I wish it was warm." Like that's what I thought it was going to be.
Oh,
Because
should
they
have just
said it
taken
was
it home.
a homemade cookie or whatever. And they have a
Hmm.
crumble cookie right next door. I was like, I think we would have been better off going to crumble. Uh,
The calories in crumble
uh,
cookie are
in,
always shocking.
insane.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like literally 3 days worth of calories for that box that you get to buy. It's it's wild.
I the first time I ever had one, Josie brought them home from work. Someone um I guess brought them in for them. And
Yeah.
Josie brought them home in a hazardous waste bag, which is so funny that she does that. She brings things home from the hospital, and it's just like got like the symbols on it. It's just like hazard, like. And then she's like, "I brought you some cookies," and I was like, "Oh, thanks." And
Can I eat them?
yeah, so but I ate two, and she told me when I first took a bite, and she's like, "Be careful, like that's a dense cookie," and I was like,
Yeah.
no worries. And I ate two of them, and then I was sitting on the couch later, and I was like, I don't feel very good. Like that was
Well, you also don't eat a lot of like in
this was
general
a while.
carbs and
This was a while ago.
oh,
This was
okay.
before I
Okay, that's fair.
shifted.
Okay. I am interested to see how a crumble cookie would affect you now.
Mm.
Now that your diet has changed, you might be able to handle like a quarter of one.
We should do an experiment because I could
Yeah.
crush a cookie.
I mean, I believe you could crush one, but then an hour later, I want to see how you
Right,
feel.
right.
You got to use it. You could use it as a pre-workout. It'd
Maybe,
give you enough energy.
dude. A scoop of honey is a great pre-workout. That's all
Yeah,
you
with
need.
a little bit of salt.
Oh yeah,
I want to message him every time. That sort of guy. He does Redmond salt,
yeah.
and apparently it has a lot of lead in it these days.
Oh really? We use
Yeah,
Redmond salt.
yeah.
So
I mean, we still have it. I mean, Redmond salt was always like, but
hmm
that's the thing is like with all of this health stuff that Anna and Josie find, no, not to them because they're right, they're
yeah.
correct. But it's like life is getting harder because
Oh
you have to
yeah.
find things that you're like, oh, cool, I made the health conscious decision. I'm going to use Redmond salt.
Hmm.
A year later, it's like, oh, Redmond salt's bad for you.
Yeah, I think
Why,
a lot
right,
of
where
it
can
is
I go?
just navigating everything that where we are, and then just having to live with the choices that we decided to make. Like,
And then opportunity cost too. At that
yeah,
point, it's like, well, you're not eating the table salt that's white and bleached and all that stuff. You're at least eating
right,
something that like has benefit for you. So,
yeah,
and also there's cost into everything too. Like when you started doing your 75 hard, you saw that like when you buy healthy foods, expensive as shit,
yeah.
right?
That's what everyone was
How's your
like.
half a cow going though?
we're getting down to the part where we just have like a lot of the big meats left,
Hmm.
and so like we need to make like crock pot meals and smoke
At
them
least
and stuff like
we're
that.
going to the winter, so you
That's
have
true,
more opportunity to do those type of
right?
things.
To do some like stew and stuff like that. Um, but like all that takes like way more prep work, you know. It's like, oh, I'm gonna have a steak. I just take it out, thaw it, and then throw it on the grill.
Fair.
Sprinkle a little salt on it.
Yeah.
And what I've learned about myself in this process, and I always knew it, but like I'm lazy. Like I'm just like, you know, the reason why I don't eat enough is because I'm lazy. It's like,
Yeah.
do I really want it? Do I really need to eat right now? Do I really need to make myself some food, or can I just
Yeah.
like eat 3 slices of dried mango and get through the day? Like, you
That's
know,
fair.
when Josie went out of town, was like, oh, this is nice. I have some alone time. I have some me time. I played golf after work Friday. I played golf again Saturday and Sunday, and then like Sunday night, I was like, all right, like, what do I do with myself now? And I spent $70 on groceries for the 10 days she was gone, and I told her about it, and she said, "Well, we're going to the grocery store tomorrow to fix that." And so
That's not
we,
enough.
we went to Sprouts, and we saw your wife there, and
And my wife
um,
spent probably the most she's spent at the grocery store in a long time.
I know I was saying there when they got the final price, and I was like, Anna, how long is that going to last, y'all? Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, she's like,
Sprouts is
oh,
not cheap.
no, it used to be cheaper, but
Yeah.
they have good stuff, so you know,
Yeah. But yes, her going into her surgery, her dental surgery prep was definitely, we bought things that you don't normally buy,
right,
right?
right,
Like all these soft foods and soups and things like that that
yeah,
are prepared for you is a little bit more costly.
yeah,
A
definitely.
lot more in that case.
I know. I was like, oh man, having a kid. I didn't realize. I knew it was expensive, but I didn't know if like we go to the grocery store every every time we're spending that much money. But it's not
Henderson's
another
really
little
not
thing.
that expensive with food. I don't think we spent way too much on his clothes recently and shoes and stuff like that. But like
Yeah.
realistically, his food, he eats what we eat. So for the
Right.
most part, he's getting pickier because he's getting into the 2 years, which is aggressively difficult.
Mm,
But it he starts saying no. So he learned the word no, and it
hmm
might be his favorite word at this point. So trying to deal with making him eat stuff, but when he's hungry, he'll eat. Like he eats avocado like
Yeah.
it's going out of sale, and I don't even like avocado. So, and he's a sweet kid, so he's like, Dada, and I'm like, no, I'm not eating that.
He wants you to eat
Um,
it. That's funny.
he wants you to eat everything, and he's aggressive when he wants you to eat something. He's like, no,
That's
you're gonna eat
hilarious.
this.
That's so funny.
So it's fun to see he's becoming willed, and he wants you to
His own person.
do what he wants to do.
Yeah. That's awesome. I remember when we came over and we were the four of us, Josie, Anna, you, me, were working out, and like Anderson was waking up. We came over early, and Anna made him breakfast, and he didn't want to eat it. And so I was like, I'm gonna eat your food if you're not gonna eat it. And Anna like offered me a bite, and I mean, I thought she was like actually offering it to me, and I actually ate it off the fork. And Josie hit me. She was like, "You weren't supposed to do that." And I was like,
Oh,
"What?" Like I
oh
told
yeah,
him
he'll
I was
feed it
gonna.
to you.
I told him I was gonna eat his food if he wasn't gonna eat it. But then he ate his food after I did. So it
That
worked out.
works. Anything, literally anything to get them to eat their food. We try not to dump barbecue sauce over everything, but the kid loves it. So we have found the cleanest barbecue sauce we could, and it's like as soon as he slows down, you're like, you want to put barbecue sauce on that? He'll put on freaking bananas, dude.
Ew.
It's wild, but it's you do whatever you can to get sustenance in.
Yeah.
So
No.
hopefully he's continued to grow and hopefully healthy of some sort.
Right.
He seems
Of some
healthy.
sort. Did he just go to
He doesn't get
preschool
sick that
or
much.
not
Yeah, he
preschool,
does
but
go to
like
preschool now, which that was fun. We were like, we know he's going to get more sick when he goes to preschool.
Hmm.
the very first day he got sick.
Oh yeah.
Um, so, and it was just like runny nose, and it was funny because they post pictures, and we were like, we found the culprit. And there was a kid in his class that came to school was runny
Nice.
nose. So I was like, I guess kids get sent to school doing that.
Right. I mean, the
Um,
parents need them to be somewhere, I guess.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely difficult in general, and you always want to try and like I know your ultimate goal is to get Josie to be at home, and that's my ultimate goal with
Hmm.
Anna, and she wants to be home, but it's like you have to weigh one how flexible your jobs are.
Hmm.
Um, because like I work from home 4 days a week, and we have my mom around the corner. At this point, it's like it's not worth it to have Anna be home, but like who
Yeah.
knows when the second kid comes and what everything is. Like the nice thing is though, we got him to the point where he was preschool. We
Hmm.
didn't have to send him to a daycare because of our family around.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Daycares are the thing that can eat you alive, though. They're like thousands of dollars. Like some people pay more than their mortgage in daycare.
I know, it's crazy.
So yeah,
Oh, okay, so this thing that he's at is cheaper than a daycare type thing.
yeah, we pay $300 a month.
How
It's
for
like
how many days a week?
4 days a week.
Oh, that's not bad. But it's just
It's
like a mother's
crazy.
morning out
It's
thing.
yes, it's 9 to 12, right?
Okay.
So, but the main thing is that like my mom can do what she normally needs to do, like jazzercise, hang out with her friends, and do all her
Yeah.
morning like Bible studies and things like that.
Right.
And then like we can drop him off at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then she can pick him up for most of the time, um, whether or not depending on our meeting schedules and things like that. And then he goes to sleep at 2 o'clock. So um,
Hmm.
realistically, like it's a shorter time for him, and with the amount of energy he has, he's exhausting a little bit at this point. So
Yeah, okay.
um, when he goes to sleep, he pretty much sleeps until the end of the workday.
Wow.
So it's we're in a good spot right now, not to
Yeah,
jinx
yeah.
anything. But at
Knock on
this
wood.
point, we're able to get a lot of able to get a lot of work done in the current situation, and hopefully that'll continue until he goes to real school, or at that point, who knows? Maybe we'll figure out the homeschool thing.
Oh geez. Gosh.
Yeah, that's always a thought in the back of every mom's head, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Especially with like all the details of I know you and Paul talked about it, like
Hmm.
what schools were built for, right? So
Right.
like
Yeah. To
they
make
might
little
not be
minions.
learning how they're supposed to be learning. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. It's manufacturing built. So I mean, if they learn what they want to learn, like there's obviously people that go through school and they fit into the cog,
Hmm.
right, of the wheel
Hmm.
better than others. So for all we know, Anderson could go in and he could end up loving school and loving to learn and loving and learning the right things, right?
Yeah.
Like Fred, my brother-in-law, he works for Apple now. He was a drummer in high school, right? And then
Hmm.
he started learning what he wanted to learn in college and ended up figuring out his path that way. But not everybody does that. You talked about how your path bounced around and now you're doing five different things and you're good at all of them. So,
Oh
but they're
gosh.
not what you graduated college for.
Right. Not originally.
Yeah.
But like you said earlier, I mean, like ultimately, how can we take control of our time and let our wives do what they want to do and raise our kids the way that they want to raise them, and not have someone else raise them? And it's just it's so tough. I think it's a promise that I've received from God, but at the same time, like when I don't know, how I don't know, but I was talking to Ron about it yesterday. We were talking, and I was like, I had to do all these things for Josie today, and I love doing things for my wife. I love making her happy, and all that stuff. But at the same time, like right now, you and I both work. Anna works. Josie's schedule's a little different, but like we all work Monday through Friday, pretty much like 9 to 5, 8 to 4, whatever. Like whatever your hours are, but like we're expected to be at or around our desk and available to help. And so like Saturday and Sunday are the only days that I get to theoretically do something for myself. But like it doesn't work that way. So, you know, how how do we as men take care of our family but still be able to have something for ourselves, you
Yeah.
know? And it's really
Yeah.
hard.
And I mean, the one thing is interesting because I am a coach and that is sort of for myself, sort of for extra money, right? And
Hmm.
but it is something that I love to do. But it's something that there's no way I can make a living off of that.
Hmm.
Um, but like, and it definitely supports me in those 3 months of the year. It was longer, but
Hmm.
now that I got rid of the travel thing, I still when I coach for Walton, it's every day of the week in the spring. So
Hmm.
from the end of January to the middle or the beginning of May, it's every day. So when I'm not in season, I do my best to try and shut off everything else.
Yeah.
But then also foster relationships with my friends, right? Like you and I see each other probably once or twice a month.
Hmm.
But it's that prioritization becomes even more difficult when you
Hmm.
have a kid because it's like you know that you do have to foster relationships, but like at this age and at this time of life, it's like your best friends are going to be the ones that you can see once or twice a month and it doesn't like drop.
Right.
We can have this conversation and it's like we saw each other yesterday.
Yeah.
So at least I mean, we're in the age where we can at least text and things like that and like keep
Hmm.
in contact. But if there's somebody in your life that like needs to see you every single week or needs to see you twice a week or whatever it is, like they're they're pulling too much of your energy
Yeah.
generally.
Right. Sure, it'd be nice if that could happen,
Yeah,
but like, I mean, it's doing this thing where we just try to work out once a month together, like, and we do it early in the morning before everyone
yeah,
gets going. Like that's so. It's just it was actually. I'm surprised we didn't figure it out earlier. Like it
right.
works.
Yeah,
So I'm excited for that. And then,
it's been working. It's working for you.
well, I mean,
You've
I work out without you, but
25% maxed up. So
yeah, yeah,
that
that was
deadlift
crazy.
increase was awesome.
Yeah,
That was incredible. But I mean, I think that I feel like you do that a lot. Do you how many times do you deadlift a week?
I was doing it more often, and then I would. It's like I follow this little workout plan that like
Hmm.
it's an app and it just tells me what to do. Sometimes it's really on point, and sometimes it sucks. Like the workouts it gives me, but I just follow it anyways because I'm like, you know what, I don't want. It's nice not having to think about anything,
Yeah,
and I'm seeing results. So for a little while, it had me deadlifting like every other day, um, and so I got a lot of repetition in, and I was just working on my form. But recently, I haven't done it as much, and I had also like did something to like my sciatic nerve in my right
yeah,
hip, and it was really bothering me. And so when I took a break from deadlifting, it's worked itself out. And now that I've gone back, I haven't reheard it, but I definitely work my lower back when I deadlift
yeah,
because like, and it's not like I hurt myself. It's like the muscles around my spine and my lower back. The next 2 days after I do like a deadlift session are always so sore. I'm like, man, I'm definitely feeling it, and I have seen improvements in my posture, in my strength, in my golf swing. My swing speed is like exponential compared to where I was a year ago. But I also am like, I don't know if I want to feel that way every week.
yeah. I mean, the having a plan though is great because I
Yeah.
there's been points in my life that I've followed a plan and I've made my own plans and I've gone through them and but like if you go to the gym, you don't have a plan, you're gonna have a shit session.
Yeah.
It's pretty guaranteed. So, um, like right now, I'm following a plan, but it's more focused on, it's actually like a beginner's plan, even though I've been working out for a long time, but it's
Hmm.
like focused on longevity in terms of like, it's got the right stretches in there. It's doing
Yeah.
like lower intensity stuff because of the fact that I just need to be able to knock it out. That being said, it has like 12 workouts, which is definitely not, can't work out that fast to get it in 45 minutes.
You're right.
But if I can get something done in 45 minutes and be consistent about it, consistency is the key,
Right. Right. Right.
right?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
if you just go and do it and keep doing it, you're going to get better. You're going to get stronger. I mean,
Mhm.
you've seen results. So
Definitely. The app is cool. Like it you can tell it I want a 30-minute workout or I want a 20-minute workout, all the way
oh,
up to
that's
a
nice.
60-minute workout. And then you can select the target muscles you want to work out and it'll just like generate one for you on the spot. Or you can follow a plan and tell it's like, hey, I want to do a 40-minute workout for
Yeah.
this plan. And it'll be like, all right, today you're doing this. It doesn't let you see what you're doing tomorrow because it doesn't. But then you wake up the next day and it's like, all right, now you're doing this.
Oh, interesting.
It is interesting. I never really know what I'm going to do. Someone's like, hey, when's your chest day? I was like, I don't know. Like, like whenever it happens. Um,
It's almost like ChatGPT. I've ChatGPT'd workouts every now and again,
I've
and
tried that
they're
too.
actually solid. Depending on, you have to put in a lot of specific,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this is the equipment that I have. This is what I
yeah,
want to get out of it. But like you can make a solid plan out of it,
yeah.
and it doesn't
Absolutely.
cost anything. So,
Right.
um, but
Learning prompting, Chat GPT prompting is like like everyone can use Chat GPT, but only people who know what they're doing actually use it well.
yeah,
Like, I don't think people realize that.
yeah. They the new Apple AI, I know if it can't answer your question, it actually like taps into ChatGPT.
I read something about that recently.
Yeah, it's interesting. And like what I was hearing was that they essentially didn't have to pay ChatGPT for anything though, because it's like it's essentially free advertising for them,
Oh, nice. I mean, yeah, why
which
wouldn't
is
you let Apple advertise your stuff?
because you're going to get dropped in 4 years when they have smart people build their own.
Yes, probably fair, but
But I guess you get a short-term benefit for what it is. But very few things does Apple like not own their own stuff.
right.
And
Didn't
if they
you
do,
you were there
do what?
in Seattle when like they were announcing everything, weren't
When
you?
the event happened, yeah. So Fred and I watched it together, which is cool.
Oh, that's cool.
And he has all his information, but it's not like he can tell me that much more
Right.
than what they're telling me on the screen.
I know. I asked him
Everything's
if he
lock and
wanted to be
key.
on the podcast, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I don't know, I'm really busy," and then I haven't heard back from him.
He has a fresh baby, so
Yeah, they it is very fresh.
so Jane was cool to meet. It's fun to have a another baby in the family. They're gonna hopefully move back East Coast at some point, so we'll see them more often.
That'd be cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh man, how long is Anderson down for more usually?
It's been like 2 to 3 hours recently.
Wow.
Two and a half. But it's like probably because he works himself into the
Hmm.
exhaustion that it is, right? It's 100 miles an hour. It's climbing on top of chairs, making sure. And it's funny because like he's tired when he just starts eating. Like toddlers are little drunk people
Yeah, right.
when they're tired. He's like, give me my milk, like
That's
and his new favorite thing is pumpkin. Like he loves the pumpkin like milk. If you know what I'm talking about, it's
uh,
a brand called MALK. It's essentially like almond milk.
okay.
But they make cashew milk, but it's cleaner. It
Hmm.
doesn't have all of the like oils and stuff in it. But there's one that's pumpkin now for tis the season.
Hmm.
Um, but
And he's a
he's
big fan.
obsessed with it and he won't stop drinking it. So we have to essentially like put a splash in water or milk or something like that and shake it up so that it tastes like pumpkin. We are screwed if he still wants it after the season because I doubt he's going to be a peppermint fan.
Right. And like it's just a
Um,
seasonal thing.
yeah, exactly.
You
So
think he'd like a pumpkin spice latte?
my mom actually put we have Anna bought a like a pre-made latte thing
Hmm.
for like cold brew,
Yeah.
and my mom thought it was the pumpkin juice that he wants, and put like a splash in there, and he didn't like it, thank God. But like, kid would have been off the wall.
Oh
So
man.
yeah, would have been a fun time. He did get to go over his Papa Hum and KK's house today when we were watching, or we were
Yeah.
going to tour houses,
Yeah.
and Papa Hum gave him as much pumpkin bread that he wanted, and that kid had a sugar high for sure, and he crashed
Nice.
pretty hard. So
Nice.
luckily he crashed in time for us to have this conversation.
Yeah, I was doing all my stuff and all my everything that I was supposed to do got pushed back today. And you texted me and I looked at my watch and I was like, "Oh, it's already 2." Like so I still haven't eaten
The
lunch. I need
weekends fly.
Yeah,
like you
dude.
said,
That's
I mean, like this is your time.
right. So this is what I get for today. After this, I'm gonna go help Josie's grandpa fix some technical issue that he has. Um,
As you should.
that's right. So gonna do that, and then I think I actually have a break and don't have to do anything after that. I'll probably come home. And like it's like I
That's
want to be productive, but then at that time I was like, man, I've already done so much today. Like, should I work on this app that I want to try to make or build a website? Or should I
yeah,
just sit on the couch with Pocus and watch the episode of The Lord of the Rings that came out on Thursday?
yeah.
And that's
It's
probably what
so
I'm gonna
hard when
do.
you have, and I mean, Instagram tells you, right, like,
Mhm.
oh, use the time that you have to make your life that you want,
Yeah.
but then you get that and you're exhausted.
Yeah.
So it's, but you, I mean, personally, watching your journey, like you have built all of this, you've done 24 episodes of podcasting, you have plenty more of YouTube videos and your Instagram, so at least people can see your drive. I told you that Anna always tells me if I'm going to start a business, I need to start it with you because if I don't, you're going to leave me in the dust. Because I mean, determination is everything at this point, right? Because like with that free time, if you don't have somebody to push you and keep you accountable,
I know.
it's
That's
so easy to just sit on your ass and either scroll through Instagram or watch TV. I mean, there's endless shows nowadays because of all the Netflix and subscriptions that you have. So you got
yeah.
to have somebody to actually hold you
It's true.
accountable.
I was actually just about to say something along that. Like starting something on your own is so hard. One, because like it's starting anything is hard. And then doing it by yourself is even harder because you don't have someone who's relying on you or and like I have partners that I'm trying to do things with and everything, but we don't like really hold each other accountable a ton, which is like, hey, if we're ever gonna get somewhere, like we actually need to like do it, you know?
Yeah,
and like come up with a plan, which like
yeah,
we're supposed to talk about something and like we actually need to do it.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
um,
And the
but
boring businesses thing is going to be interesting too, because
yeah,
I was actually, I just Googled the other day, I was like, what businesses are for sale in my area? And there's a lot,
there are a lot.
right? So
Yeah,
like, obviously, like we'll do our own research offline, but like
hmm
there are things that we should definitely look into because um, listening to your podcast with Paul, I was like hungry because he was like, when you work for yourself, you
yeah,
don't go back,
right.
right? Like I don't really care. Like I think both you and I are in the point where don't really care what we're doing as long as we're growing something ourselves. Like that's like in terms of passion,
hmm
right? There are things that you like to do
hmm
and you can like build things that you like to do, but it's like I don't think Paul as a child was like antiquing. That's what I want. I think he
Yeah,
just enjoyed building something and seeing that built and flexibility, and then he ended up learning that he liked what he liked to
hmm
do within the antiquing business, which was just like his eye for things, you know.
right.
Um, so in terms of like, I enjoy like being efficient and like making things efficient, whether that's in my own home or at work or things like that. So like
Right.
that's what I was thinking. Like in anything that you and I look at or end up buying or trying to build, it's just the love of the process and being efficient. It doesn't have to be loving every single day because I don't think everybody loves every single day. Even if they're like, "Oh, I love my job," it's like
Yeah,
I don't think you love it every day. You're
yeah,
exhausted at some point.
absolutely. I saw this Instagram reel and it's like the trend. People's like what I do, my 5 to 9 after my 9 to 5. Those stupid
Yeah,
videos that people make.
yeah,
And like I saw one and it's like my 5 to 9 after my 9 to 5 as a startup owner or whatever. And the guy
yeah,
stood up and like they usually stand up and close the laptop. He
yeah,
stood up, stretched out, and then just sat right back down. And then it like flashed to it and it's dark and he's like still working. And it's
yeah,
like you know the build is fine. Working hard is fine. I just don't always want to do it for someone else.
yeah,
You know
exactly.
Um, and so like I don't mind working. I actually like to work because
Hmm.
you put your mind to a problem, you find a solution. Like it feels good when you figure it out. It feels good when you exert yourself and you make yourself stronger. But it's just like, I just want to do it for my own dreams.
Right.
My own dreams being my family. Like, hey, like, don't work. I got this.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna be able to be around though. It's like, sure, I have to work a lot, but because I'm the boss, I get to choose when that work is done. You know?
Hmm.
So
Yeah. And I always think of things of like, if we do push forward and own a business, like I'm fine to hire our families in terms of that, right? Like
right.
if Anna always says she wants to be a manager and she wants to like manage people just because she enjoys talking with people and things like that. Um, and coming up with solutions that she can create a teamwork bond of things.
Hmm.
So it's like we owned a business and our wives did day-to-day things, but they also just like had managers that helped them and assistants that helped
Hmm.
them and things like that. Like I haven't fully run this by Anna, but I'm sure she would enjoy those type of things. Um, like there's a lot of more opportunities when you have your own stuff and you can
Right.
make it what you want to, right? Like she's in marketing, you're in um, coding and things like that, and I'm in finance, right? There's a lot of things that like we could build business and have pieces of us doing it
Right.
and not take up our entire lives.
Right.
Um, and it doesn't, it's funny, I don't know this for sure because I haven't owned a business, but it seems like when you own a business, you're not, it's not a 9 to 5, it's a 24/7,
Oh yeah, 100%.
but also it just it feels like it integrates more with your life and it integrates with who you are
Yeah.
rather than when I'm in corporate finance, it's definitely I go do my corporate finance so that that brand can grow and then I come home and I have my real life.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, being a business owner is a 24/7 thing. Whenever you're never off, something goes wrong, you have to fix it when it happens. Um, but at the same time, it's still like, like, actually maybe that wasn't that important, or like maybe that client can wait 3 hours and I'm just gonna go have a picnic or
Yeah.
whatever. I'm not saying
Like,
like you can always do that, but like, I don't know. That's my desire, is like being able to look at a situation and be like, you know what, that doesn't need to be taken care of right now,
yeah.
uh, and I can make that choice.
Right.
So, or you get to a point where you're doing well and you can just hire someone to run it for you, and you just work behind the scenes. So,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the goal is like if you do own those boring businesses, you don't just own one,
right, yeah,
right? You build it to what you're comfortable with and you find someone that you trust
hmm,
and that you make their life better because in terms of small business, right, your goal ends up becoming their goal.
hmm,
It's not like a corporation where it's like you're just trying to climb the ladder as fast as possible. It's like
hmm,
smaller businesses have more camaraderie
right,
and they whether you give them a stake in the company or whatever, like
hmm,
they grow it the way that they want to grow it too, and then you become hands off and you go do the next thing,
yeah,
right? Like passive income doesn't mean that you're always going
completely
to go
passive,
just yeah be by
yeah,
yourself and sit there and do nothing. You're going to go look for the next thing because like you said, working is fun for the most part. It just depends on what you're working on.
right. I know that's what people. I hear people talk about, like, oh, if you could do nothing or you didn't have to worry about money, like, what would you do? And I think it's a fun question. And it's like, I think it would be really fun to try to qualify for the U.S. Mid Am in golf. Like, that would be a lot
Yeah.
of hard work. That would be a lot of time, a big commitment. That would be fun. It'd be
Yeah.
really frustrating, but like, I don't know. Like, is that really soul satisfying? You know, at the same time, it's like
That's
if you didn't
interesting.
have to work and you could just be a lacrosse coach, maybe it is soul satisfying for you. Like,
Yeah.
you know, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. um I mean, if I didn't have to work, I'd definitely do something with lacrosse. Probably build some sort of fields or some sort of like indoor facility that people would
Nice.
come to all the time.
Yeah.
um that's like a if you win the lottery thing. But it's
Right.
interesting is like I wouldn't just sit on my ass.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, like,
There's no way.
yeah. I couldn't do it. I would be bored because the
Would you
week
ever
that
go
Josie
back
was
and
gone.
use your degree?
My ministry degree.
Yeah,
I've thought about that too, um, but like that that's 24/7 job. Being a pastor
that's true.
is you are always on, and like there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. I think if the Lord calls me back to that, like, and maybe He will. I just right now I don't know I want to do that. Um,
No, for sure. I'm
right?
just saying if you won the lottery, maybe, but like also like even if you won the lottery, it's like
If I won the
that's
lottery, I'd rather just be very involved in
yeah.
in my church and
Hmm.
pay for every student to go on every single mission trip. Like no student would have to
Right.
pay for anything they wanted to do. Like like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, I would our church owes money on like the land or something. Like they took out a building a construction loan. Like just pay it off for them. Like don't worry about that anymore.
Hmm.
Sponsor a bunch of the missionaries and be an elder or something like that. But like I don't know if I really need to work
Yeah.
as a pastor at this time because at so like I like to be good at that you need to be present and I don't know if I'd want to neglect my family
Yeah. For
in
sure.
any way if I didn't have to make money kind of
Yeah.
thing.
I think
So
your ultimate goal would just be to give kids the kind of youth group that we had almost.
yeah, for
Seems
sure.
like we you were talking with Justin and you're talking about Big Red Ball and all the things and K War and things, all the things that we did. Like
Yeah.
I need to if you won the lottery, you might have to shell out some hospital bills or something like that. But
Right. Right.
like the camaraderie and group that we had though, like we still talk to a lot of those guys today. So
Hmm.
that at least there was a lot of involvement in whether or not, and that definitely brought a lot of people to the church.
Yeah.
Um, there was plenty of people that who was it that came to K War in a polo? I forget who it was, but
I don't know.
they like came and they were I thought they were like one of your friends. I think was it Ilya or somebody? I don't know.
Oh,
Somebody
maybe.
came to K War in a polo and got the polo completely ripped up.
Oh, yeah, I think
Um,
that did happen, Delia. Yeah.
yeah. So, um, but like those type of events are almost core memories of
Oh, for sure. But I don't know if you
you.
could do that in today.
That's why if you had won the lottery, maybe you just have a layer retainer, so kids can have fun.
Right.
Uh, so, but that would be cool too.
That would be cool. But also winning the lottery opens a lot of bad doors. Like a lot of like people asking for things
Oh yeah,
and doing and
there isn't there some statistic that a lot of people who win the lottery end up just back where they started anyway.
I do think that is a because people don't have a plan, It's like,
Yeah.
you need to think of a plan. You need to hire a lawyer. You need to hire a I have thought about this a lot. Hire a good accountant, like a bunch of things, and then you put money in trusts. I would assume you should put money in trusts. You should
Hmm.
pay yourself out or start like a C corp and hire yourself as an employee and pay yourself a salary.
Mm.
Like I don't know if all of this is actually accurate, but like I just think a lot of people don't go in with a plan, and a lot of people give the money away poorly. You know,
Yeah.
because I wouldn't. I mean, if that were me, I wouldn't want to be stingy or anything like that. I'd want to make sure that the people around me were taken care of, um, and everyone. I just would be concerned that someone would be like, "Oh, this is all I get. Like you got all
Yeah.
that, and this is I only got this much." And like
Yeah.
that's like then people start making you feel guilty. Whereas if you work hard and end up building something that makes you wealthy, like it's a lot easier to be like you can be grateful for what I've given you
Yeah.
because I worked hard to get here. It wasn't just given to me.
That's
You know,
fair.
you have more room, more
Yeah, that's very, very true. Because it's like you didn't just get lucky.
right. Like I don't deserve to win the lottery, and I would know that. And so
Yeah.
like, it'd be hard for me to be like, well, no, you can't have any more because it's mine.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think about it all the time. I think about a lot of things. Well, Josie
What
was
the,
gone. I was thinking about what I would do if I ever lost her because she was gone for a little while, and like I'd be a mess. I don't
yeah,
know. I'd be wrecked.
y'all been together for a long time though.
Yes, that's true, and I rely on her for a lot of things. And one of Paul's statements talking about how people say women don't have power is a bunch of BS because like
Yeah.
she like I rely on that woman for 95% of my life. Like she
My
makes
health
me
decisions would be so much worse if I didn't have it. I would
yeah,
be so bad, and I
yeah,
would just not even know.
right,
Um, like the motherly care that she gives to Anderson, but also even to me, and like half the time she was at one point like putting out my supplements, and
yeah,
like that would be the only way to take them. I was like, if you wanted to kill me,
yeah,
you
right,
could do it easily because she could just
right,
put a pill in my thing. But
right.
luckily, I've started taking my own on my own. I've been a bit a little bit more of a big boy, but
There you go. Proud of you.
it's helpful in many ways that are just overlooked a lot of the times.
Yeah, you don't really realize it until like they're not there. But like what I was saying with our grocery budget, I think I may not even have spent $70, and like all I went to the grocery store is like I ran out of milk for my protein shakes, so I went and bought some milk, and I ran out of eggs because I ate all I really ate was like 4 or 5 eggs a day, and then I grilled myself a steak for dinner, and like like you don't really need much more, but when she's
Yeah,
around, like I have like a side, and and it's because she demands it. Like I was like, "Do you
yeah,
want to have this for dinner?" She's like, "Sure, but I also want a sweet potato, or I want zucchini, or I want XYZ." And I was just like, oh, "Okay, I wouldn't have even thought about that because I'm just lazy." Like I said before, it's like just
yeah,
be as efficient as possible.
right. And but also they're gonna make you live longer because you're eating that zucchini, right? That you didn't think
Yeah,
about. It's not that you won't don't want it. Like when it's there, you want
right,
it,
right.
but when it's not there, it's just doesn't. There's just not as much.
Yeah.
Not that we're dumb, but it's just not as much
No, dude, I think I am dumb.
outside.
I also didn't feel as motivated when she was gone. I just kind of like, oh, like I'm just supporting myself right now, so
Yeah,
I can just exist. But when she's here,
right.
it's like I need to get up. I need to do the dishes because I want her to be happy. I need to go work out because I need to live longer to make sure I can take care of her and our future family.
Yeah,
And it's just crazy how much influence she has over my life.
right. And one thing that's interesting though is that, and that I think about pretty much once a day, is that when you have another person around, you also want to be personally better for them. You
Right.
know,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
you, and that's what also of all like the my short marriage so far have learned. It's like the more you grow yourself and think about yourself, it's not selfish anymore because
Hmm.
when you handle yourself and you're more physically, spiritually, mentally healthy,
Hmm.
then they don't have to worry about you as much
Hmm.
and you just can be happy together, right? Like
Yeah.
if Josie was telling you to eat vegetables 100% of the time, even when she was around, and you weren't there trying to be better yourself for her,
Hmm.
then it put a strain. But realistically, like when she's literally physically there, you're like, oh, I should probably go buy a zucchini so that I don't waste away and I can be around for a long time with my wife.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, it's so true. And it's just, I mean, that's been a big thing in my heart. I think, recently it's just like, I want to become the strongest man that I can be, like physically, but also emotionally, spiritually. And it's emotionally strong doesn't mean like I'm just hard. It means like
Mm,
I understand my emotions and I know how to express them and feel them. And if I need to cry, like I need to cry. If I'm angry, I need to do it in a way that is not like a bad form of aggressiveness type of thing.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think that being aggressive is necessary sometimes, but
Yeah.
you know, that's where I'm working towards. But I just realized, like, in my pursuit of that, my relationship with my wife has become me being selfish and focusing on making myself better has made my relationship with my wife better.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's primal almost. It's like
right.
somebody, you don't want somebody that's gonna just like give up. You want somebody
Yeah.
that's motivated. You want somebody that if back in the day, you hunter gatherer, like
Hmm.
if you weren't the hunter and you weren't in shape, like you wouldn't eat.
Yeah.
So that's something that like if you aren't wanting to be better and aren't wanting to grow, you're not doing anything.
Absolutely. Primal is such a great word because, like, I just think like physically and like primally, ancestrally, we are attracted to, like, good looking people, like hardworking people, the people who
Hmm.
are physically fit. It's where it's just like, obviously, if you as a man are more manly, the woman that you are with is going to be more sexually attracted to you.
Yeah,
Uh,
because it's also like it shows that hard work, right?
yeah.
That, like there's no way to be physically fit without working your ass off,
Right.
right? And even like even if you aren't working out a ton, like people have proven it, like you don't even have to work out, you just have to eat healthy. Like, but that's hard as shit too, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it's hard to sit there and only eat things that are healthy for you when there's ice cream around the corner,
Yeah.
you know, when there's crumble cookie around the corner for
Yeah.
4,000 calories a box.
Right.
Um, right. There, those things are difficult, but like if somebody is literally healthy, even though they don't work out and they just eat healthy and they make the right choices, like
Yeah.
that's hard work and it shows, and
Yeah.
like people want to be around that.
Yeah. There's this guy I follow on Instagram. His name's Crew Mahoney. Um, and he's run every single day for the last like 3,500 days, maybe more. Like, he has run a mile. I think it's just a mile. I commented on one of his videos and asked, but he didn't respond to me. Um,
It's
and
almost
like,
10 years, I guess.
a long time. And like, but a lot of people would be like, oh, he runs a mile or he runs two, whatever it is. He runs a certain amount of time every single day, and he has for the last 3,000 days or whatever. Rain or shine, snow, whatever. He goes out and he runs at like 5:45 in the morning every day. Insane. And he does a cold plunge before he goes for his run. And his thing is always like he takes a picture of himself and like after he
Do we
gets
know if
in.
that's healthy yet? Is that proven yet? Like I know
Dude,
it has
actually,
some benefits.
there are. I don't know if it's healthy, but there are definitely benefits. There's a lot of. I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, and there's like studies apparently about how taking an ice bath before you go work out actually improves your muscle growth
Hmm.
by like, it was like a crazy number. And like, Novak Djokovic has these gloves that he wears now,
I
and
saw
apparently
that.
there's something about how if you just like get the palms of your hands really cold, it like rejuvenates like your entire like muscle cells. I don't know.
So there was a kid at my at Walton that he was
Mhm.
one of our backup goalies, and he actually plays at Oglethorpe now. But he was extremely smart, like very, very, very
Mm.
smart, and
Mhm.
he was engineer wise, and he had like multiple 3D printers or whatnot. Anyway, he built us a pipe, like a copper pipe
Mhm.
that if you plugged in and it recycled water, cold
Mm.
water that like people would come out like getting sprayed with things like that or
Mm.
whatever they do in the NFL, but like they would hold onto the pipe and it would cool their hands down from
Yeah.
the same technology,
Yeah.
just like way more not as advanced as the gloves, but very,
Right.
very similar.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked into it. Interesting. I just saw someone talking about how it was better for you than steroids. Like, obviously it's better for you than steroids, but like it actually, like, I think the in effects of it are
Hmm.
like are better than like the quote unquote positive effects you get from steroids.
Yeah.
But anyways, this
You're talking about
guy,
cold plunging, right? Not the
no,
gloves.
the
Or
hand,
I guess they're both.
the
Oh, the
cooling
hands
your
then?
hands, yeah.
Oh.
But cold plunges too. And this guy, he just says like, didn't want to, but I did. And he
Hmm.
always is talking about how he's like, people will be like, how do you not eat ice cream? And he's like, it's just simple. I just don't. And I'm like, bro, it's not that freaking simple. Ice cream is amazing. Like, how can you just
Yeah,
not eat it?
right.
Like, you know?
And I think I don't know if Joe Rogan has had, Andrew Huberman, the Huberman Lab podcast.
No, I'll look it
He's
up.
a professor at Stanford.
Okay.
Super interesting, really, really smart dude. But he
Hmm.
was talking about how there is a part in your brain that like will make you live longer if you do things that you don't want to do. So,
Mm.
like, if you don't want to go cold plunge and you do it,
Hmm.
that part in your brain will actually grow and it helps longevity. Um, but as soon as you're like, oh, I'm gonna go plunge cold plunge, I'm excited, that
Yeah.
part in your brain actually doesn't grow, which is super
Interesting.
interesting because it's like doing things that push you out of your boundaries,
Yeah.
I guess, grow that specific area of your brain that is super helpful in the long run.
Yeah. That's interesting. I've been listening to a lot of like uh, they're mental golf shows. They're like specific around
Mhm.
golf, but it applies to your whole life. It's just like having better mental thoughts and processes. And the one that I listen to the most, he's always talking about the psychology of um, like when you get uncomfortable or you feel pressure, like our natural reaction is to be like, oh, I'm fine. Like I'm not actually uncomfortable, or there's actually not too much pressure here. But how much better it is for you to realize, like, I am experiencing a lot of pressure right now, or I am very uncomfortable in the situation that I'm in, but it is okay. I'm not saying that I shouldn't be uncomfortable or I shouldn't feel this pressure. Uh, I am acknowledging that it's there, and I'm acknowledging that I am okay. Like, I do feel this way, but I'm okay with it. And now I'm going to proceed in this situation. And sometimes being uncomfortable is like like, oh, I need to get out of here kind of thing. And like, I guess having the discernment to know the two. But if you're doing something, you're running down the field to score the game winning goal in a lacrosse game, you're gonna feel some type of pressure in the moment, whether you like
Yeah,
really like are thinking about it or not, because that's a more of like a reactionary sport. But
yeah,
like in golf, you're standing over a putt and you're like, this is for birdie. That would be really cool. I feel pressure.
yeah. I
Like
guess it's the fight or flight, but you're choosing fight basically.
right. And you're choosing to be okay, one, with the outcome. Like, it's important to be like, I can either make this and that would be great, or I can miss it and that is okay. Like, I can succeed or I can fail, and I'm okay with either choice. And then choosing to step into that, how you actually perform better in those scenarios
Hmm.
when you choose that way. And I think it's similar to the like, didn't want to but I did kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that's also the fight or flight type thing.
Yeah.
In that scenario, you said like those golf mentalities can be put into life. It's like if we step into a business, we have to be okay with because there's a lot of businesses that fail.
Yeah.
But it's like, what did we learn from that?
Right.
When do we cut the losses?
Right.
All those things we have to be ready for. I
Yeah.
think people tell you a lot, though, people that are successful are like, you just gotta freaking do it,
Right.
though, and you'll learn that along the way. But also, it's mentally ready to make that happen.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I think, the scariest part for me that's held me back from truly starting something is that I'm responsible for someone else.
Yeah,
And I think it's probably even more pressure for you because now it's not just you and Anna. Like right now, it's just me and Josie and Pocus.
yeah,
Like, but like, I would hate to attempt something and then all of a sudden, like, now we're in a situation where we can't afford to pay our bills or something like that. You know,
yeah,
um, that's the scariest thing for me. But at some point, I know that I'm just going to have to take the step. I just don't. I just haven't found something that is like a big enough pull to actually pull
yeah,
me forward towards a step. So
yeah. And I think it's just finding something that you're confident enough in
right,
that you're okay to take that. And I mean, risk is definitely a sliding scale. If you got to
yeah,
figure out where you want to go, you got to, like you said, take enough risk that it's going to be fruitful enough, but not
hmm,
enough that you're going to put everything at risk. You're going to have to put
right,
something at risk, though.
yeah, yeah, definitely. That's good. That's probably a good place to end. I gotta, unfortunately, I mean, we could talk forever, but I gotta go
Yeah.
help someone with their doorbell. So,
Yeah, Anderson's gonna wake up probably soon anyway. We'll see.
no, all right. Well, I hope you get a few minutes alone before he wakes up, and tell Anna I said hey, and we'll do this soon again, or we'll do this
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. If not, we will see you in a week for working out. Pretty close to it.
Oh,
Something like that. Yeah. Max is
yeah. Let me text you about that.
cool.
I think I'm playing golf, so but,
We'll find time.
yeah, sounds good. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. Your support means the world to me. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to follow on whatever platform you're listening on and send it to a friend. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please leave a review. They really help boost my exposure. If you're on YouTube, make sure that you're subscribed and liking every video. It really helps the algorithm. Links to all my and my guest socials, along with music credits, are in the show notes. Thanks so much. Love y'all. Bye.